baby. Why don't you let me in, oh baby?
Welcome everyone to Barely Friends Podcast. My name is Isaiah.
My name's Eric.
We're excited. Episode 13 is here now. We got a lot of things to talk about. Celtics versus Lakers, Celtics versus Thunder. We got some one in the world. They're gonna blow your mind, okay? We got a lot of things to talk about. But first, I got a question for you, Eric. Where are we dropping? Where are we dropping today?
That was a good question.
Where are we dropping? All right.
Maybe McDonald's?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
No, sorry. You gave me this T-shirt, so I just had to rep it today. Fortnite used to be my game. It's not anymore. I'm not a gamer. I want to consider myself a gamer. I don't have enough time as I am an adult now. Okay, so I'm an adult. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure they I haven't played recently either, but
Yeah.
I know there used to be was it Tilted Towers?
Yeah. You used to. Well, technically, there still is. They have a version where you can play season 1. They have like 8 to 10 different versions now of Fortnite. I saw like the latest commercial, like Lego, and it seems like another game my cousin plays.
Roblox?
Yes. Roblox feels like that kind of vibe, and I'm like, all right, that's yeah. I mean, I was done with it a while ago, but now it's really dead. It's dead for me. So, but this shirt, I mean,
It's a retro shirt.
It's a retro shirt, 100%. So, but let's get into it. Let's get into the NBA and the sports world, all that stuff. Music later on. Got some big news about music. We got some breaking news though first. Some more season-ending surgery. Well, yeah, surgery and injuries. Paul George and De'Aaron Fox are done for the season. Paul George with a left abductor muscle injections there for him, and season-ending finger surgery for De'Aaron Fox. I'll start with De'Aaron Fox, I guess. It sucks. I believe that is a huge move for the Spurs. I said it when he got traded that they can, and someone got upset with me. I forget who it was on the reel that we shared, but someone was upset that I said that the Spurs are gonna rise like the Thunder. But I did say in all honesty that they don't have the players and they don't have the draft picks like the Thunder do. So I don't think it will be. They're not going to be like the Thunder where they have all these pieces and they've drafted them up. But I think all I'm saying is I think the Spurs will be really good.
Yeah, well, the Thunder, they've been playing this for like 5 years or so with all the I wouldn't say tanking, but they've stocked so many draft picks that they've intentionally built this team.
Yeah.
So that was definitely strategic by Sam Presti, and yeah, I know Spurs are in that current position.
Right. Yeah. They need, again, some more pieces, trades. But again, with Wembanyama, who's 10 draft picks, 10 number 1 picks, they're going to be okay. So it's unfortunate that he was injured out for the season, but Wemby's already injured. So it's just like a reset, and it'll be okay. Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. I know that last year you were a little bit skeptical about Wembanyama if he'd be a top 25 player in the NBA.
Yeah. That's in the past, Eric. That's in the past. Okay.
But now we're both I would say both the same page that he's in that elite group of for definitely the next generation.
Yeah.
But I think in my opinion, if he's not on a good situation with his team for the next 3 or 4 years, it's not a big deal because he still got his whole career ahead of him, and he's only I think 21, 22, something like that. But he's still very young, and he has a good 5 years before he actually has to break out and reach his superstar level.
Yeah. There's playing time. Heal up. You're already going to be done for the season, but take the rest of the season, get ready for next year and beyond, because Spurs are going to be back in it, even though the West is absolutely loaded. Paul George. This Sixers team this year has been an absolute disaster. And it just keeps piling on. I feel bad for Tyrese Maxey. I do. He is a legitimate all-star, and you had no Joel Embiid this year. You really didn't. Even if he was on the court, you didn't have him. You had more of a distraction of Joel Embiid than the player of Joel Embiid. And now Paul George is down. Disaster. That's what main thing comes to mind.
Yeah. I know that at the beginning of the season, I was Paul George, he's 34, 35. He's still a really good player. He's quite on that borderline of all-star.
Yeah.
But like I said, he is older. The NBA has 82 games a season, and we're getting to that point where it's like really getting towards the end of the grind for them, like getting towards the playoffs. And
Yeah.
at that point in the season, people say injuries, like, oh, Celtics won because there's so many injuries. Well, injuries are actually part of basketball, and you've got to like plan accordingly with your lineups, and it's just part of strategy, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Paul George, he's older, and Joel Embiid's been hurt. Paul George has been hurt, and like you said, Tyrese Maxey's just in a situation where he's got to carry the team, and so he's got to be like I forgot the Greek god's name, but he's got to carry the world.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, but that's how I see him. He's got to like lift this big thing up, and he's not having any help.
Yeah. Well, I hope he doesn't lift. I hope he's not lifting this year because there's nothing to lift. They're done. They're pretty much last in the Eastern Conference. No need to waste your effort. Honestly, shut down Maxey. I don't know why you don't do that with your other supposed to be big three. Like, this is supposed to be like a legitimate Eastern Conference contender, and they've been absolute duds. So
Yeah. Well, I know last year too we had the Sixers and the Heat both as the Celtics' main rivals.
yeah,
So seeing as both teams are kind of on the shorter end of the stick now,
yeah.
any thoughts on their current seasons? Like, how do you see like what's your reaction to this transition from like being top beasts in the East to being like duds?
Yeah, I mean, definitely more surprising with the Sixers than with the Heat. The Heat, they also had this whole feud with Jimmy Butler. All these stars, man. All these are having drama this year. Jimmy Butler has gone and left, and he, even when we were rivals, even when like it was that number 1 versus 8 seed, right? That whole thing, like they're always like mid. They're always mid regular season, and then somehow they turn it up. I don't think they're gonna turn it up this year. They don't have really anyone hero, the three-point god, and 3-point winner. Woohoo. They don't have the star power to compete with any of the top 3 seeds in the East. So definitely more surprised with the Sixers than the Heat. But quick turnaround. I mean, that's the NBA. That's the NBA. So
Yeah, I saw a meme on Facebook, and of course, Cooper Flag. We'll probably talk about a little later,
yes.
but he's projected to be top pick in the NBA draft. And rumors we talked about last episode that he might go to Duke for another year. And I saw a meme from the Wizards, and they're like, "Don't worry, we'll be back next year too." Like, if
yeah,
in
yeah,
case you
yeah,
skip.
yeah. I did see that. Oh man. Yes.
But that's what reminded me of these teams. Like they're like Heat and Sixers. Like we're just watching and get Cooper Flag,
Right.
and then it's like, actually, I'm not going to you guys.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sixers too. Oh man. Oh, open. All right. Some better news. No season-ending injury for Nikola Jokic. He recorded, and this has never been done. And I saw this and I was like, this is fake. Like, this is not real. From a center. He had a 30-plus point, 20-plus rebound, 20-plus assist game. And this is the first ever triple-double that this has happened. And I feel like we haven't, at least recently in our episodes, talked about Jokic. And I think that's 2 reasons. One, the Nuggets haven't been as good as they've been recently, even though they're a top 5 seed in the West. And B, Lakers Mavs trade, Celtics, Thunder, Cavs, atop of the NBA. There's been other storylines that just have drowned out Nikola Jokic. However, that's a reminder how good this guy is, and how I don't know. He should always be, if he's healthy, in the MVP conversation without question. He's so good.
Yeah, I truly believe that he lost, the year before's because of photo fatigue, in the sense that he's kind of this guy who goes into work, he does his job, goes under the radar a little bit. He doesn't really want that whole media frenzy around him. And because of that, he does get lost in the chaos, like you said, of Luka Doncic and LeBron James and all that. And he really is, in my opinion, he's on a like GOAT level run where he should really win 4 straight MVPs, in my opinion. And it's just been photo fatigue and really not having the media behind him.
Yeah, and now there's no question. Jokic is the best center. And Embiid is he's out.
No,
Okay?
he's cooked.
He's cooked, okay? And Jokic is the best center in the league. Not even close. That non-debatable anymore. Non-debatable, okay? Over.
Yeah, I guess it'll really come down to like We talked about it a little bit last episode, but would this influence your current MVP standings for your own personal ballot if you were to do one, like Shea Gillis and Jokic and I don't know Tatum or Giannis or?
Yeah, I think I put Jokic in the ballot. He's not number one. Probably SGA is number one for me right now with how the Thunder are and how he's performing right now. But Jokic is probably in my ballot. He probably wasn't in my ballot a month ago, so he's backing it. He's backing it with that. That is 20 is 20 assists as a 30 points and 20 rebounds I can get. You're a center, but 20 plus
Yeah, that's
assists,
crazy.
That's I don't know, man. He's amazing. He's amazing. So shout out to Jokic. Absolutely fantastic performance.
Does he have a nickname? Like I don't know if he does.
I mean, the Joker.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the Joker. That's probably the main one. But he should have a more
Like that suits him more.
lethal.
Yeah, lethal.
I don't know. More
I think
scary.
like Jaws.
Sure, sure, Jaws. The Joker. The Jaws of defeat. No, what isn't there a line with? I don't know. Anyway, Jaws, Joker, doesn't matter. He's lethal. Okay, that's the matter at the end of the day. Finally, speaking of OKC and SGA, did you know, Eric? Did you know that OKC sat out 5 starters against the Blazers? And now the NBA, of course, is investigating these absences and quote unquote these improper absences from ESPN, and more have happened around the league. And yet they won the game. So pretty incredible. I mean, yeah, I understand with every team, or it seems like every team sits out their starters for a long period of time, but it's not like this is multiple times has happened, like, in a couple of weeks. One game they won because they knew they could beat the Blazers without their 5 starters.
That's crazy.
I don't think it's anything crazy. If they continue to do it, then maybe look into it. I think it's really funny. That's really funny.
Yeah. Do you happen to know how many games ahead they are in the West?
I don't, unfortunately.
Because like we're getting to that end stretch of the season where like even if they do lose, of course it doesn't look good for the record, but they basically secure their spot, and I think they'll be stuck in the number 1 position for at least like 5 games, 10 games if they lose.
Yeah, I think at least 5. I want to say 10. I feel like they're up there, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah. But I know the NBA does this rule so that they could have, people who are going to watch the games, they can see their favorite stars play and not just like, basically see not nobodies, but they don't really want to just watch rotation players.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, I know it sucks for the fans. It sucks for the fans who, you expect you pay all that money, even though depending on where this was. If this was at Portland, I mean, I'm sure it was dirt cheap. Or in Boston or something, right? So yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm just saying Pelicans tickets are going from $1.
Yeah. Shout out to your team. Writing, not regular team. But there you go. That's our breaking news. Injuries, Jokic, and 5 starters out. That is what we have for you in episode 13. Let's move on to our next segment here. Baller's Life. Celtics play 2 Western Conference teams that are very interesting that we wanted to discuss. First game, March 8th, 2025, was against the Lakers, our arch rivals for our whole lives, okay? For the whole Celtics-Lakers lives. Good game. I don't know did you watch that game?
I actually saw Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, what better place?
Yeah.
What better place to watch than Buffalo Wild Wings? But I watched the full game. I wanted to make sure that I watched this game because the whole Luka, Lakers were like around an 8 game winning streak.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even close to 15. I don't know. It was around 8 to 10, I think. 8 to 10 game winning streak. And I just wanted to see how the Celtics took on this, and they did it very well. Tatum had 40 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. Brown had 31 points. LeBron had 22 points, 14 rebounds. Luka had 34 points, 8 rebounds. And I would say, as a Celtics fan, I was rejuvenated because I've been talking about episode and episode. Oh, they look so down. They look out of it during these regular season games. But I'm pumped now. I'm ready for the playoffs. I'm ready. I'm excited. I should have been this whole time. But I'm excited.
Definitely. And I see a lot of people who usually tune out Celtics games sometimes. And for this game, I felt like everyone's locked in. Like you mentioned that winning streak going 8, 10, 15 games, and
Yep.
Celtics being, the current reigning NBA champions. And I feel like it really rejuvenated that Celtics versus Laker rivalry. And if this happened in the NBA finals, I think it would do amazing for both like getting attention to the game, publicity, ratings, and just seeing like Tatum, the current face, well, the future face of the NBA, in my opinion, versus the current face LeBron, and seeing like this, epic rivalry, especially with Luka Doncic just playing the Celtics last year with the Mavericks. Like, there's just so many different storylines that would work amazing to really capture this moment.
Oh, I mean, 100%. This would be. I mean, I you know, I've mentioned that I've wanted Celtics Nuggets for whoever how long because Jokic and how great he is. This eclipses that to ends on because of the storylines, because of Luca coming back, because of the Lakers Celtics rivalry, because LeBron is in his final years. I mean, all of that. Adam Silver has to be chomping at the bit with the refs to try to get this to happen. Okay, you have to get this if you're Adam Silver, whatever way possible. So that would be an amazing finals, and like you said, the ratings would be this would. I don't know. This may be. I'm not talking about the best final series ever, but the most viewed. That I think that has its potential.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
in recent years, I actually noticed that the ratings have been going down a little bit. And I think part of it, they said like, oh, COVID, that kind of thing. But if you look, like it was not Mavericks, sorry, it was Nuggets and Heat, which was a very boring series in my opinion.
Yeah.
But Celtics and Warriors was respectable, but this would just be like cinematic, like masterpiece.
100%. 100%. I'm looking forward to really hoping. I guess technically, then I'm rooting for the Lakers up until the finals. Up until the finals.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll see how it is. But that is again great game. Was excited. They just seem rejuvenated and ready to play that game. So I can't say anything bad.
I guess like out of the competitive teams in the NBA, would there be a bad NBA final series? Like one that probably would not do so well?
Ratings wise, if the Grizzlies made it, right? If there were, I don't know, Grizzlies and even though the Cavs are number one, I think it'd be a little odd if you had a Cavs Grizzlies, right? I mean, Ja and Donovan Mitchell are, they're stars and studs, but that would be kind of bland.
Yeah,
That'd be kinda
especially Ja's
bland.
had some troubles recently with his
Yeah,
image.
yeah. I mean, he's been good on the court so far, and off the court seems to be good so far. So hopefully it continues. But I would say that would be an odd one for
Yeah.
off the top of my head.
And Grizzlies, they're in the bunch here, like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
So it's
yep.
very realistic they could have this good run. But like you said, like even though Cavs are number one, Donovan Mitchell, he's like a respectable star, but there really is no like hype around them right now.
No, they have to make noise somehow in the playoffs to really get attention. So I mean they got attention, but it's not like a Celtics Lakers. Not even close. Not even close. Speaking of another though, Western Conference rival, maybe question mark the Thunder, March 12th. Okay, we lost. We lost this matchup, 118 to 112. We're 0-2 this year against the Thunder. Interesting stat here. This is from the Sports Hub 98.5 radio show. The Celtics attempted the most threes in the first half ever, 36. It's them. That's them. But they were 31.7% from threes. So that's gonna do it. I mean, you lose by 6, and I didn't watch this game. Someone told me that there might have been an injury or two the Celtics had. I could be wrong. But in any case, that's how you do it. If you shoot that many threes and you don't get them in, that's how you're gonna lose. And only by 6, you get better shots.
Yeah, my guess is Joe Mazzulla thinks about the numbers. Like, oh, even though we missed this many, the chances are that this many will go in.
Right.
So I think that's his logic because literally I watched that game on TV. I know with the new Comcast package, like games are very limited, so I'm going to call them out for that again. But that was the only game I've really seen recently. And quite literally in the first quarter, the Celtics shot all 3-pointers. And the only time they didn't shoot 3-pointers was that if they were like forced to not shoot a 3. Like if they absolutely could not.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they would shoot a 3.
Yeah. Again, I said I wasn't going to be upset. Eric, you're triggering me right now. You're triggering me. I really wanted to. It- I'm happy. I'm happy. But it is still frustrating when you have a team so talented and so well-rounded offensively that they chuck up threes seemingly for no reason. And you could just have a more simple offense if you wanted to drive the basket and then kick out for threes, because then simple. You have more people in the lane to defend you, and you kick it out for more open threes. But instead, the philosophy is just shoot more. And again, we won a championship last year, and we're second in the East, and we're good this year, but we just cannot. There cannot be a tendency to do that like game after game, especially in the playoffs. That can't be a trend because it won't end well, in my opinion. So, those are the Celtics games, and those are Celtics news for our Ball is Life segment. Transitioning back to the Lakers a little bit. To your LeBron James, my goat maybe LeBron James. He had a feud with Stephen A. Smith. Okay, I don't know if you saw the clip. Um, LeBron essentially went to Stephen A. during a game on the sideline and pretty much said explicits, but I will not say the explicits. Obviously, he said, stop talking about my kid. Stop talking about Bronny James. And Stephen A. on First Take, his show, was just saying, like, yeah, I do talk about your kid, but I don't really talk about your kid because of the kid. I talk about the kid because of you. And because you've been saying, and you as LeBron, that he's one of the better players coming into the league, and he's better than like at least half of the players in the league. And now he's in the G League. And he's better. He's getting better, but nowhere near what LeBron was hyping him up to. Now, what's interesting is Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony had some words about this confrontation. Dwayne Wade says that this is on Yahoo Sports, that there's respect there. That if you're going to confront someone, that means there's some level of respect, because you're not going to just go to anyone and confront them like LeBron did. And Wade essentially agrees with LeBron. He would have done the same thing if that were his kid. Carmelo, on the other hand, thinks that there's more context needs to be considered and says it has nothing to do with Bronny. So, two different perspectives. They're both close to LeBron. I think Dwayne Wade is somewhat close to Stephen A. I don't know about Carmelo. But very interesting. What are your thoughts on this whole feud and this whole story?
Yeah. So like you said, Carmelo and Dwayne Wade, they both have unique perspectives, both being close to LeBron and probably also being close to Bronny by association. I'm saying I lean more towards Carmelo's point of view, where, Stephen A. Smith is a sports newscaster, analyst. And part of that too is evaluating players, whether it be the good, the bad, or even some off-court drama. It just happens. It's part of the game. I would say if Bronny was still in high school, there's an argument like, okay, he's really not fair game right now because he's still in school. He's not in the NBA. But now that he's a professional basketball player, I feel like he's got to be open to that criticism. LeBron, he wants to protect his kid. I get that. But he's got to, his kid's got to take the criticism. And a lot of it's not going to be too positive, of course, being a rookie and really not being the best rookie in the league right at the current moment. But I go more towards Carmelo, where it's really not so much about Bronny, but making a statement about Bronny's performance on the court, not so much his character.
Yeah, I I understand the father side of LeBron with his reaction. You want to protect your kid. You don't want to see your kid being, I don't know if it's made fun of or just being criticized, just generally being criticized the level that he is, because he's LeBron's kid. I understand that. Doing it the way that he did, though, it seemed. He has full jersey on. Like, it wasn't like maybe the game had ended. I feel like this could have been. I don't recall if it was during the game or after the game. Just interesting that he chose that because I don't know even really if like Stephen A was talking about Bronny. I don't watch First Take like I did before, but I don't know if he was talking like I don't know if Bronny has been a headline in First Take in a little bit because why would he be? Right?
Yeah.
Why would he be? Right now. So it's interesting that he chose that time during the game. You saw Stephen A. Sure, it was the moment, but like I don't know, an interesting way to do it, interesting way to handle it. But yeah, if the father thing, the father perspective, sure, like you're upset, but how to handle it, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I think it's like you said, LeBron deals with a lot of media himself. And at the age of 20, he does the same thing his son's been through, but to a greater degree. And I think Bronny's going through a tough thing, trying to, I wouldn't say follow his father's footsteps necessarily, but trying to even match up to his father a little bit. Like, there's a lot of pressure on that angle. And he's not going to be the next LeBron James. He's going to be the next LeBron James
right, LeBron James Jr. Jr.
Jr.
Right, and and Bronny, like he's had pressure since day one, right? Since he stepped onto the college courts or high school courts, you had that comparison because again, you're the GOAT's kid. And that's what's gonna happen. So I wonder how he's taking it all and like how he's been handling it. I'm assuming well because there hasn't been anything negative that's come out of the media about his, him going to G League and all that stuff. I've actually seen positive things. So
Yeah, I would say, everyone's career is different. For some people, getting to the NBA is a big dream, big accomplishment.
mhm.
And I'm sure Bronny has a great respect for that. I'm going to say if Bronny gets an NBA All Star at any point in his career, I would consider his career a success.
For sure, yeah. Because I don't think people right now really like NBA analysts or dissecting Bronny would think he would be an all-star right now. I think his I don't want to say ceiling. His ceiling I think could be an all-star, but I think right now he's probably like a sixth man of the year potential. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't seen enough. I'm just going based off of media and I don't know
Because a lot of the hype is basically him being
being in
LeBron's
the front.
son.
Right.
But he has a good opportunity to really take these different resources and take these different opportunities and really make him into something great. So I think he still has potential. But it's also very early in his career, so we just gotta see what happens.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of someone who can take opportunities and could make them better, but might not be right now, is Angel Reese, okay, in the WNBA. Oh man, she okay, wants WNBA players to be paid like NBA players, which is great, and I advocate for that. I want as close to the NBA is how much the NBA players are getting paid for the WNBA players. I really do. I want it to be as close. But it's harder than like it's gonna be a long process and it's hard. And there's already a lot of forces that are already like negatively impacting this. But Angel Reese thinks that not playing and going on strike is the way to go. And I think she told the commissioner of the WNBA. I could be wrong. It was all over social media and all this stuff. And I saw that. I would say we, Barely Friends podcast, are like advocates of the WNBA. Like we try to talk about it as much as we can. We're an NBA podcast where we're going to talk more about Celtics and all that stuff, but we try to get WNBA stuff in. This isn't the way to do it. This is not the way to get this equal pay or close. I just don't. You're gonna lose stars. You're gonna lose ratings, which I don't know where they're at, but like they're not they can't be great in comparison to the NBA. Still, even with Caitlin Clark, even with all these young stars, right? Like it's still not going to be great. And you're going to go on strike? I don't know.
Yeah. Very similar take to yourself. I mean, just for comparison, right? You have, for example, the prices of goods or, inflation, and then you have like the amount of money you make or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's like a big deficit. And right, the NBA and WNBA, like the NBA's ratings are up. WNBA's ratings, they have actually been going up, but they're still really down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the game is growing, but it hasn't been growing at a rate that is sustainable to the NBA. So for that reason, I just don't think Angel Reese is in a position to make a statement like that, because I do think that if they sat out, the general public would say, "Okay, that's great, but I'm still not watching." If the NBA had to sit out, I think that would be doing more damage. But WNBA is a position where they really, and I'm going to quote JD Vance, you don't have the cards. And the cards are basically like, you're not in position to sit out, because if you sit out, you're the one who's losing money. LeBron James sits out. It's a pretty big deal to the NBA community. Angel Reese sits out. I mean, she's a respectable player. I know she's accomplished some things, but I honestly don't really care. Caitlin Clark sits out. It's still a big deal, but I just feel like there's more attention to the NBA. WNBA needs more work with their publicity and popularity.
I'm trying to figure out a way, because again, I don't believe that there will ever be a time where there'll be equivalent pay for NBA, WNBA. I don't believe. I just don't think that. Again, I just said I wanted to be as close as possible. I just don't think, with the systems in place and all, I don't think it's gonna happen. And then on top of that, like, all this revenue, like NBA just signed a huge deal, a new like TV media deal to get like billions of dollars. WNBA doesn't have that kind of money. They need to like, and then this is like a whole business thing. Like step away from the basketball side of things. Like, they need to, I don't know, invest in sponsors, get more from the current sponsors. I don't know. And they have been, I think, because there's been more commercials about WNBA players. And so, like, there's more noise and I think more attention on the WNBA than there's ever been before. And if you want to strike, take the talent away from, I think, is things are going well. Probably not as well as you think. Like, obviously, Angel Reese doesn't think as well as she thinks. But I think it's good. Like, you continue the momentum. There's another draft of great Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins. Like, that's going to be another load of WNBA players that comes in. And that's should increase ratings again. So I guess it's simple with Angel Reese. Be patient.
Yeah.
Be patient. And it's look, I'm not in your position, obviously. But be patient. It will come. And then I'm going to sound like the person who told LeBron to just play basketball, like, shut up and play. No, like, you can be an advocate. But I don't think this is the way you advocate.
No.
In this situation.
Yeah, sitting out, in my opinion, also, it's not the answer. You need to, like you said, there's different companies that will give brand endorsement deals. You've got a new wave of players coming up. But I think that she's probably projecting a comment that might not resonate a lot with other NBA players, WNBA players. I don't know how Caitlin Clark feels about it. I don't know how Juju Watkins, who's coming into the draft, would feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of players who are also affected by this decision if they did sit out. So I'm sure there's other perspectives that may not match Angel Reese's, and she might just be a loud minority of what they're thinking.
And I'm curious, like, the NBA has, and a lot of like large sports leagues has like a player commission, I guess, or like, just like, they're advocates for the game essentially, but like they have their own leaders, and I would think the WNBA has that. I hope Angel Reese has spoken with those players. Obviously, it may not necessarily, doesn't seem like that, because it was just from her, not from the WNBA commission, if there was one. So, yeah, yeah, I get it, but this isn't the way you do it. This isn't the way you do it. Let's move on, shall we? To our supernova superstar. Now, we have we forgot our sunglasses. Okay, however, we're trained now. Okay, our eyes have been prepared for this moment. Now, we've had a lot of great supernova superstars recently, but this superstar, I think, is very special in particular because they're a Brockton native. Okay, so local, obviously. We try to, if you're new with us, we try to have a local figure, sports figure, who, had an amazing stat, had an amazing whatever game. This person, Brockton, uh, number one high school recruit, and is a potential top pick in the 2026 NBA draft. Drum roll, please. His name is AJ DiBenza, okay? AJ DiBenza. I hope I pronounced your last name right. I apologize if I didn't. But unfortunately, I've not watched this kid. But being number one high school recruit, being a top pick in 2026 NBA draft, potential, I need to watch BYU. He just decided, if you didn't know, he decided to go to BYU for college. He could have picked, he was looking at Alabama, UNC, North Carolina, another college, I forget. But I'm watching BYU, okay? Next year and watching this kid. I want to see him thrive. I want to see him to be number one talent in the NBA. Huge props. That's awesome.
Yeah, like you said, he had a lot of options of different colleges to pick from, and I haven't really watched BYU. I'm not sure how their projection for March Madness, but I think that him being a potential top 10 pick, like he made a good choice of picking a school that is still competitive, but will also give him his own spotlight to shine in a sense that he could get more attention around his name and, of course, work together as a team, but really become a centerpiece to a team that may be in March Madness next year as well.
For sure. And they might be this year. I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong. They could be a number three, like not number three overall national, but like they could be a number three seed in one of those regions. So they're pretty good. I again, if I'm right, if I'm correct. But this makes them, a whole lot better.
Yeah, and I have to look at like the depths of different positions. But if you went to a school like Duke or Florida, even he might get lost in different other prospects who are also trying to get their stocks up. And I think that this will give him a good chance to really show his name, show that Massachusetts pride.
That's it.
And then make it onto that stage holding a jersey.
Even if Brockton may be, a rival to New Bedford in some senses, we're gonna be kumbaya right now and celebrate AJ with his accomplishment. So again, congrats AJ. Going to BYU, hopefully a top NBA pick. That's fantastic. So.
And I know he's already gotten acknowledgement from the likes of like Jaylen Brown. I think he was with Jason Tatum, like working out a little bit. I know he's been acknowledged by LeBron, so he's got some potential.
Imagine that opportunity working out with Jason Tatum. You're local and you're so talented that you can. Yeah, you can do that, So that's great. That's great. So congrats, AJ. Hope you do great at BYU. Let's move on. Once again, one in the world. Eric, I'm going to start with you because mine's not, it's not
a feel good story.
It's not a feel good story. No. A lot of my friends know about the story, which is why I'm going to say it again. Let's start with you. You have a couple. Music first.
So today is March 18th. It's a Tuesday. Our episode's going to get released later on this week. But I actually released my 4th full-length album. It's called Classe Mondial.
Classe Mondial. So classy.
Yeah. So if you take that in Portuguese, it translates to world class. So definitely want to give a homage to my heritage, having that connection across the Atlantic Ocean with Portugal. It's actually like I said, my fourth album, and a lot of people don't know this, but I've released my 4 albums. It's Eccentric from 2020, Ruby from 2021, Iconic from 2023, and now Classe Mondale from yesterday. Well,
Oh.
no, today from today.
Yeah. We still have that picture up here. Now we have to add the fourth album cover, to complete this picture instead of this random woman here.
Oh yeah. So for those to visualize at home, it's green. It has orange text at the top that says Classe Mondale, and it's myself facing away from the lens. So if you look side by side, right, you see me looking left, you see me looking straight, you see me looking right, and the last one looking back.
Mm.
So in 5 years, I did a 360 turn, and you also see it spells out my name, Eric, Eccentric, Ruby, Iconic, and Classe Mondale. So a little homage and a little concept album I had going on.
That's really cool. That did you I'm assuming you envisioned the name and like having it be like at the start.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say the craziest part is waiting the full 6-7 years to make this idea come to life. And so for me, it's a very great moment for me feeling this, that
Yeah.
after 6-7 years, I finally see the full collection being released and really seeing this come to life. So Ed Sheeran, he had his mathematical symbols that he had for like 10 or so years, plus minus addition.
Yeah.
So I got inspiration from that.
Mm.
And to see this come to life, once again, amazing feeling for me and really loved it.
Yeah. By the way, how's Ed Sheeran been? You guys are you talk a lot. Have you talked to him recently? I mean,
Yeah. So on social media, on Instagram, sometimes I message with Ed Sheeran, and he's my favorite songwriter. Been saying it for years, and really enjoyed learning more about him and giving some comments myself. And I asked him like, "Hey, what do you think about the Celtics? Looks like they might win another championship this year." And he said, "Oh, I love that." So he's a Celtics fan. And for St. Patrick's Day yesterday, he was actually in Boston.
Really?
So I'm a little upset they didn't tell me. Could I hang out?
Best friends, man. What the heck, Ed?
I guess. Well, I guess we're barely friends, me and Ed.
Yeah, good one. Good one.
But yeah, he was in Boston. And yeah, he's a Celtics fan. I've messaged him a couple times about the Celtics. And he actually gave me inspiration to start this project, Classe Mondale.
Mm.
My song, Stone Man. If you go look at the lyrics, I didn't use his words. I used my own words, but he gave me the message, like, you're going to have good days to write and bad days to write. You've got to work through the bad days and really you don't have to worry about sucking. You got to dare to suck. So appreciate that advice. And I really turned it into my own saying, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. I feel like we can use that advice in our lives. And I took inspiration from that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Ed. Thank you. You have another, not so music related one in the world. About Tony Allen.
Yeah.
But there's a nickname that you shared with me. First of all, before we get into that nickname, what happened to Tony Allen?
Yeah. So
and who is Tony Allen? Sorry,
yeah. Start with who is he? Tony Allen was a NBA player for, I believe, 10, 15 years. He played a little bit for the Boston Celtics, and he played his remaining years, I think, actually most of his career with the Memphis Grizzlies. And this week, he got his number retired with the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, his career averages, I want to say at his peak, he was averaging 9 points and 2 rebounds a game. Yeah. So the Grizzlies retired his number. He does have 6 All-NBA defensive appearances, which is amazing.
Yep.
But yeah, it looks like Tony Allen, Memphis Grizzlies legend, for those who are not aware.
Yeah.
And his nickname, you may ask yourself?
Yeah.
The Grindfather.
The what?
The Grindfather. So
The Grindfather. Okay.
I honestly, I've heard of Tony Allen.
Yeah.
I know his early award with the Celtics. He actually won a championship with us in 2008. I know he wasn't really a major part of that lineup, but he was in it.
Yeah.
And in Grizzlies, I guess he got this Grindfather nickname. I'm not sure why they call him the Grindfather. I'm not sure if he probably is a father.
Because he grinds, Eric. Because he grinds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he probably plays a lot of games and minutes and scores some points.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting nickname. Interesting retiring. We've talked about very interesting jersey retirements like these last 2-3 episodes. It's interesting to see who you mentioned. Marcus All should be retired as a
Yeah.
Grizzly if Tony Allen is.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see who else they have up there.
I think it's a very slippery slope. We go from, Derrick Rose, Tony Allen, Justin Santos. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man.
And
Oh man.
then Isaiah Spencer. No, I'm just
Okay. All right. Now you're pushing. We're not even getting to mine yet. You're really pushing it before we get to my part of my
Spoiler.
world. So am I gonna start now?
I guess that's a perfect opening.
Okay. Let me go to my screen here because I'm sure everyone wants to see my face. Oh, not your face. My face in this reaction. So I play for a rec basketball league. I can't even. I play for a rec basketball league. I just started. Justin Santos, who's been on the show, Warriors fan, recruited me for a rec basketball league. I started halfway through the season, so I was like already like 5 games in. There's like 5 more. Yeah, didn't know what to expect. I just knew we were 0-4. I just knew we were 0-4. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before, because this weekend, thank goodness we had a bye week. We didn't play. We lost by 42 points. I mean, can you do this? Yeah, both of them at the same time. Both of them at the same time. Yeah, me and Justin lost by 42. But my score line was 2 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, something along those lines. Single, triple, double. All right, am I right? The actual score was 84-42.
Ooh.
So, yeah, not good. It had nothing to do with myself, Justin, his friend Alex. Absolutely nothing to do with them. But we, after that one game, could have all been cut. And if there was free agency, anyone could have joined and maybe needed a new team for the TW Tigers. That's what we're called, the TW Tigers. So, might have been worse than the Charter days, man. I'm not gonna lie. Might have been worse than the Charter games. I'm not.
It's like
I'm not gonna lie.
like a spinoff of the Charter team.
It's something. I mean, if the Charter team, older and like today, we would have played much better than that team. Probably would have still lost, but would have played much better than that team. Yeah, I could dissect the game if you want me to, but again, it falls on me as well. I was trash.
I'll say
I was garbage.
2-2-2 will get you a jersey retirement on the Grizzlies.
It sure could. It sure couldn't. So, that's my one in the world. There's been college games though that teams have lost by 50. Okay, there's been NBA games. I don't know. Has an NBA
the Pelicans just lost by like 30-40.
Did they really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just say one last thing. The other team that we played was good, obviously. They beat us by a lot. But they weren't anything special, okay? They were taller, they had athleticism, they could shoot the 3. But the reason why they could shoot the 3 because we didn't have a hand contested to them, okay? We didn't have a, ball, right? We didn't have a hand to the face. But when I started putting a hand on people's faces, they couldn't score. So that's what I'm saying. Just gotta play better defense.
Yeah. I mean, you walked into a situation that wasn't the best, like 0-4.
Yeah, and I asked I go to church. If I asked some of my church friends, mainly guys, over the week, if they could pray for me, that I'd be more like LeBron James. So I hope that happens because we need someone to be like LeBron James.
Well, here's what we'll say. We'll say the energy is about to shift.
Yeah, he's about to tilt.
And then we'll do another check-in like next episode and see.
Yeah, well, next episode will be 2 weekends. I have 2 games. This weekend though, Justin and his friend won't be there, so don't ask me about that game. You don't ask me about that game. The next game, we'll see.
That means
So,
you're gonna basically have to be like Tyrese Maxey.
yeah, I'm gonna have to be a lot. We're gonna have to all be a lot. That's that. That's my won the world. 42 points. 42 points.
Yes. Oh, before mailbag.
Yes.
Quick announcement to the viewers.
Oh, okay.
So the album Classe Mundial is actually currently #1 in Portugal.
That's right. You showed me the stats, and it is true. I don't know why you'd be lying about it, but it is true that is the case. And this is not the first time you've been #1, right?
So for albums, it's actually the 5th.
Oh, excuse me. The 5th.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually the leader, like the male leader for the record in Portugal is actually Ed Sheeran
Wow.
with 6.
Wow.
So
You want to, well, that means you're going to have to make some more albums to eclipse your protege.
yeah,
You know?
it's like a classic like Karate Kid story.
That's it. That's it. Everybody was kung fu fighting.
it.
You know?
Yep.
That's
We'll
great,
see.
man.
Another special announcement is that actually next month I'm planning to make a compilation album of my 10 best songs. So it'll be called Eric because ERIC, and I'm hoping that album will do good even globally. We'll see.
Sure. Yeah, love it. Love to hear it on Fun 107. Fun 107, 94 Pro, no, 92 Pro FM. That'd be sick. That'd be pretty sick. So, mailbag time now?
Mailbag time.
Mailbag time. Questions here. Eric, you want to start off with your question to me?
Yeah. And this question actually is intended to trigger a little bit of the audience.
Viewer discretion advised.
Yes. So what is an NBA take that you have that you think would upset the most amount of people?
So this was hard. So I had to use my friend ChatGPT for some help. So I literally said, what are the most like controversial NBA takes, in general? So there were a few. I could have taken and could have. But this one I leaned most towards. So I'll just say and then I'll explain. So this one is the NBA is better off without super teams. Could be ironic since you could consider the Celtics being a super team. Super teams make it harder for other teams, and this is straight from ChatGPT. I didn't write this. This is straight from ChatGPT. Super teams make it harder for other teams to compete and dampen the excitement of the playoffs. The league is at its best when there are multiple contenders and any team has a shot at the title. Now, I do slightly disagree with ChatGPT's description of this because, yes, any team that having a shot at the title is nice. But if you have, like, the top teams going consecutive years, like, all the time for a certain period of time, like, that's going to be better than always flip-flopping. You're going to have, like, a Grizzlies, Cavaliers, finals one year, and then a Clippers, Pacers, right? Like, you're going to have these oddball, like, you want, like, the best teams, but also, like, the teams that have the cachet, I guess, which is, like, superstars, but they don't necessarily need to be the top teams, like the Lakers, like, they're 5th seed, 4th seed. But you want to see a Lakers-Celtics rivalry. But where I do lean on with better off without super teams is like the big three. Like I had enough with this big three. You see with the 76ers, you seen with the Nets, with Harden and Kevin Durant. You've seen with the Suns, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant again. Kevin Durant just seems to niche into these super teams. The Warriors, back in the day, even when they were good, old school Warriors, and the Heat when they had the big three. It's like I don't really want to see, like, the Celtics is a super team, but they're different. Tatum and Brown were developed as Celtics. They picked up these pieces, and now they're coached pretty well by Joe Mazzulla. And so this is a little different than your generic big three super team. So that's why I kind of, though, like I'm like partially on this, but I couldn't really figure out another top story or top take that would tick people off. Because I really wanted to piss people off. Yeah, I really wanted to piss. I was trying to figure out something, but this is the best I had.
Yeah, so essentially you're against the model of, like, for example, obviously Kevin Durant, he went to the Warriors. But Tatum and Brown, because they like grew up together, they developed together, and then like these other pieces just so happen to come into the Celtics. Like you think that's ideal for a super team?
Yeah. Now, people can say Porzingis is like a big three, and like that is like, which you could agree, but Porzingis has been hurt, so it's not really like. But I mean, it is a great pickup. It is great. So and it's a little biased because I'm a Celtics fan. So anytime you get a super team, it's like, ugh, I don't care. It's my team. But yeah, I guess so. Like, I don't want any superstar super teams because I just feel like at this point, like they don't produce. They don't produce anymore. They're kind of dying, and they're not really good teams anymore. So
Yeah, fair point. Suns, they've been trying like Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Bam Adebayo was in the mix for a bit,
yeah,
but for some reason, like they have the pieces and the pieces just aren't clicking.
yeah,
So that's what stands out to me.
yep.
I actually have a take that will, in fact, anger a fan base.
Okay, here we go. Oh, particular one. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say, nothing to do with the man as a person, his character, bless his soul. Unfortunately he did pass away, so nothing against him in character wise. But
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant's last game as a player, nothing crazy, nothing special. He dropped 50 points, and to me, it was not impressive. He's 37 years old. He's playing against the Utah Jazz, who probably were not playing defense in the first place. And this is Kobe's last game. Let's let him have this little 50-point game. So, you know what? Nothing crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you're not making me mad, but I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good game. I mean, it was a pretty good game, right? I mean, for a player to have at 37.
LeBron's 40.
Oh, okay. This whole LeBron, he's better. He's older. He's scoring. Okay, I see where this is coming from. Now, I get it. You're forgiven. I understand.
Yeah. I'm just saying LeBron's last game, bless his soul. But I'm saying he's dropping 70.
Oh, okay. All right. Put it down, ladies and gentlemen. 70 points. LeBron is gonna score his last game. And if he doesn't, we're gonna have some talk. Okay. But yeah, that probably ticks off some people. But that's the whole point. That's the whole point of that question. Let me ask you my question here. Who would most likely, we talked about last episode, the heel turn of John Cena, okay? And I've seen some clips recently. He's an old fart, man. He's an old angry fart, man. He's very upset with WWE fans. Even he talked about a little kid the other night. He said, I forget what he said specifically, but he didn't like him. Okay, he didn't like him. We talk about that. Talk about him heel turning. Who would most likely have a heel turn like John Cena in the WNBA? I mean, sure, in the WNBA if you wanted to as in the WNBA, but in the NBA.
Yeah. So part of the question too is trying to think of someone who's not already considered a heel. For example, Kevin Durant, like he was like the Thunder's prized like amazing role model, like kind of just Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And he was cool. And then he went over to the Warriors and he's like the most hated player, the snake, and he got this new persona.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the world has been against the Boston Celtics for a while now, especially having what we've described as a super team to a degree.
Yeah.
And I think that they've definitely embraced the role they've been given as like this kind of enemies or bad guys against the league. But I think that Tatum will turn up again in the future. Like he'll be a legit heel.
Yeah.
Like he'll just be like, it's hard to describe, but he'll just be like crazy, like not caring. He's gonna be savage.
Okay. That's a good answer. Yeah, I initially had Joel Embiid. But I feel like you had a good description of like good guy then turned to bad guy, right? Like I don't think Joel Embiid was a bad guy necessarily. Or was he like an anti-hero, ish? Right now it seems like he's a bad guy. And now I feel like he's a bad guy, but I feel like he never was really that good guy you cheered for, like just like in a all over like a everyone, like, what am I trying to say? Like, NBA fans in general didn't see, I don't think, Joel Embiid as like a bad guy initially, or a good guy even.
He's just a guy.
And he's just a guy, and now he's a bad guy. Not because he's injured, but just because he doesn't play games. Which I guess, anyway. So, I'm trying to think. Draymond Green's always been a bad guy.
Yes.
Like, I'm trying to think of a big trade. I mean, I guess in Mavericks fans' eyes, and it's not Luka's fault. And they're probably more pissed with the GM than Luka. But Luka could be, especially in Celtics fans' eyes, like last year's finals. Now he's Laker. Like that could be a little bit, but again, not really. I mean, he's a bad guy in our eyes because he's a Laker, but I don't think he's a bad guy in all NBA fans' perspective.
No, I think, like you said, because it really wasn't his fault he got traded. But if he like up and said like I want to leave, then he would be a bad guy.
Right.
I would say the most shocking, which I don't see happening for at least a good amount of years, is a Giannis.
Oh man.
Like, if Giannis just told the Bucks like I'm done with you guys, like you're not helping me, and he just left, like I think he would be a bad guy.
That would be potential, like the Knicks, or I don't know, really anywhere. Oh, dope! If he went to the Heat, that'd be kind of sick. I ain't gonna lie. I wouldn't like it, but I think that'd be kind of sick. Well, that'll conclude the end of episode 13 of the Barely Friends podcast. My name's Isaiah.
My name's Eric.
Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you all for watching. Have a great rest of your day. See y'all later. Have a good one.